Hello everybody, welcome back to That Fiction Life. Ever since the Fog of the Air series by Holly Black has graced the earth, I have not been the same. We have had extensive book talks and reactions and reviews and interviews with Holly talking about this masterpiece, but I realised that my channel was lacking something, and that is a complete guide into the series and a spoiler-free discussion as to why I'm so obsessed with it. So in this video, I will be explaining this series to you and telling you what makes it so unique. Also, yes, you will have noticed full Jude cosplay. If you watched my Queen of Nothing reading vlog last year, I've been promising a makeup look based on this cover because I never made one. Of course, inspired by the ice and these berries towards the bottom. So the exciting announcement is that I am a Hotkey Books ambassador. Me and the other ambassadors have organised a ton of things for the month of November to celebrate the series, and we're going to be doing a readathon. So if you would like to join us, we will be starting with The Cruel Prince. I'm going to put everything that you need to know in the description. We have a special group where you can join and we can discuss all of the books. I have made a downloadable booklet which you can post on social media. If you do use any of the documents, please do tag me because I would of course love to see it. So without further ado, let's begin. In this series so far, we have 3 books. First, The Cruel Prince, then The Wicked King, and finally Queen of Nothing. This is a full trilogy. However, we now have a brand new book coming out on November 24th called How the King of Elfame Learned to Hate Stories. It's going to be illustrated and I'm not ready. So in this first book, we are following Jude, who is the main heroine of this series, and she has been living in Elfame for many, many years. So she has a twin called Taryn and an older sister called Vivi, who is half Fae. And one day Vivi's father comes to their house and murders both of their parents, as well as taking Vivi, which was his intention. He also takes Taryn and Jude to Elfame, and throughout this trilogy, Jude is trying to fit into this world, as she herself is human. So she does stand out a lot in this world, as all of these people are very mesmerizing, magical beings. You know, Prince Carden has a tail. Now, this series transcends anything that I've ever read in my whole life. And yes, in the title of this video, I said that this is my favorite series of all time. Book lovers tend to have a few of these favorite book of all time things, because honestly, it depends on the day. But I think if someone was holding a dagger to my throat, without thinking, I would probably say The Wicked King. I've never been more shocked to see a heroine make the decisions that she does. She doesn't care that she is not one of them. She's doing everything possible to come out on top. This is definitely more of a satire series. It won't be for everyone because it is dark, but if you enjoy stories that aren't conventional, may I present your new best friend. I mean, I see bad reviews for this book and I laugh, because so many of them are like, oh, there's this really evil group of princes. Yes, it says The Cruel Prince, and everyone thought they knew who the Cruel Prince was, but there's a few of them. And it truly made me laugh because so many people say this book. I mean, honestly, the characters are so manipulative and they're so evil. Have you read the title, perchance? Because literally it says The Cruel Prince. The Wicked King. I love what Hotkey do. They have this little circle in the back of their books, and it's like a little elevator pitch, and it says temptation, betrayal, lover. For The Cruel Prince, we have assassin, betrayal, lover, and for the last one, curse, betrayal, lover. So the betrayal lover is a recurring theme. It's like every single book, there's so many betrayals that, you know, you should probably keep a little diary to keep track of it all. So the first topic that we're going to tackle is Jude as a protagonist. Because I feel as though sometimes in books we have these protagonists who claim to be these badass, let's break all the rules kind of people, but they don't actually push that. And they sort of hold back on being morally ambiguous in any way because that's not the mold for a heroine. You know, the heroine, generally speaking, is supposed to be someone we look up to and we're supposed to root for them. But why does that mean that they have to be perfect and make all these nice decisions? Okay, Enter Jude. She has had such a dark upbringing, which is one of my favorite parts of this book, because a character's backstory is supposed to influence their future. And when we meet Jude in The Cruel Prince, she's already very affected by the fact that she lives amongst these very manipulative beings. There's a line in The Wicked King, which is, I think, my favorite line from this whole series, apart from the angsty scene. It's a conversation with one of the other Fae, and he says, you know, your family may be surprised that not everything is solved by murder, to which Jude replies, yes, we would be surprised to find that. And that truly makes you think, because this guy killed her family in front of her. Then Loki kidnapped her to this foreign land full of Fae, and that's not going to make you the nicest person as you grow up. And something that makes Jude very interesting to me, she does make decisions that humans may perceive to be absolutely psychotic. Point number 2 is the angst. Jude and Cardan are the main sort of ship throughout this series, but you never know where they stand. Now don't worry, I'm not going to be confirming their relationship at all, because we're only going to talk about the first 2 books, because I don't want to influence your brain in any way if you're to read the series. But as we've already covered, Prince Cardan isn't the nicest. As we also established, Jude isn't the nicest. I don't like these plots that have this really mean and menacing love interest who is just completely out of order with the heroine. In this relationship, there is such a balance. You could even say that they are both bad for each other, but there's no sort of victim in their dynamic. They are both on equal level. They both throw punches, quite literally at times. And it's just interesting to read about the constant back and forth. Now, another key thing about this book is that yes, it is an urban fantasy, which means that it's in a contemporary setting, in a world that we're already familiar with, but there are these fantasy elements. But this series reads like a high fantasy. We meet so many supernatural creatures in this series, and even the way the food and the drinks are incorporated, it makes it feel so atmospheric. Just the whole aesthetic of Elfame is so beautiful that, if you can tell already, I really want to move there. Also, the ending of each of these books, you know that stare at the wall feeling where you don't know what to do with your life because a plot twist has absolutely killed you off? Every single book. I remember when I was reading this first book, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I honestly didn't think it would be that deep. And then it was like a Game of Thrones Red Wedding level insanity. Like, if you've watched that scene on Game of Thrones, you know that feeling of when you think something is over and then it just keeps going. And yeah, I'm not okay. In The Wicked King, I remember reading this in a Starbucks amongst humans. Reading at home is fine. You can vocally react, you can lay on the floor with the book on your face to process. You know, London Starbucks is very busy and full at all times. I couldn't even escape to a quieter table. And you know, when you're just visibly not allowed to react because people will think you're crazy, I will forever laugh at my Wicked King book talk, because the way I read out some of the passages, you would think I'm on something. I'm so thankful for my channel because I found so many other people that feel the same way, and we can all have a downfall together, which I'm hoping is what this readathon will do, because this is definitely a series to be discussing and talking about. Another point I want to discuss is the writing style, because Holly Black is one of the most skillful authors to ever exist, and it's not just with this series. I remember reading The Coldest Girl in Cold Town and the Curse Worker series, which was about witches. The Coldest Girl in Cold Town is about vampires. The way that she is able to almost infiltrate the human world with all these fantastical elements is done to such a high standard that I don't think I've ever read such a sophisticated series with so many feels and angst and unique characters. And also, this is another thing, some of the side characters I have such strong opinions on. You will grow to hate some of these people, but then the way you will appreciate the way they are written, it's such an experience. So this is my guide to the Folk of the Air series by Holly Black. I'm going to include all the details about the readathon in the description, as well as my downloadables if you would like to try out some of the recipes. And I also made a Prince Carden Spotify playlist for the Feels music. If you do post any of the assets, please do tag me. If you have any more questions about the readathon or anything to do with this series, you can always DM me on Instagram. So that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!